Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here. This is my first real YouTube video on scrapping. I'm a second generation scrapper, full-time teacher, full-time parent, and a lifelong environmentalist. I got the name Tin Man actually from the guys at the scrapyard I go to because of all the steel I could strategically fit into my four-door G6 car. Today I want to talk to you about how to turn this trash into cash and how to get the best bang for your buck by helping you identify the different types of material and how to properly sort the material. I've seen a lot of amateurs go into the scrapyard with their load, and they don't necessarily know how to properly sort it. They get lower prices because they haven't taken the time to mix or separate the material. So that's kind of what I want to do today. Before I begin, I do want to say one thing my father always taught me when I was scrapping. Before you scrap, look if the stuff works. There's been a lot of times where I've taken or looked at microwaves, vacuum cleaners. Vacuum cleaner could be simply just a highlighter in the hose. On one occasion, I took it out, cleaned it off, brought it back to the lady, and she said, "Oh, it's okay, you can have it. I already bought another one." So that would be the first thing I would suggest you do. To make sure it works. If it's in good working order, you can donate it or sell it as is on eBay. So here we go. I'm going to start with the first material, most common you're going to find on the street. So everything here that you see is actually I've collected from garbage day. Okay, so this first thing is steel. Very easy to identify. Take a magnet. If it sticks, then it is steel. Okay. You do not get a good price for steel, but you can put a lot in a vehicle. It does not take a lot to add up in weight. Okay, so steel is the first thing. Second thing I want to look at is stainless steel. This is a sink, very easy to identify because it has a metallic look to it. If I put a magnet to it, it does not stick, and that is because it has a nice thick coat of nickel on it. You can find sinks. This is just a pot that I put a magnet on. It doesn't stick, so this is stainless steel as well. This is a hose from a gas pipe. It is also stainless steel. Yeah, I just took the hose off that and I put it into the stainless steel bin. Mixing bowls, another one. It doesn't stick. One little thing, word of caution, however, is sometimes you will see stainless steel, or it look to be stainless steel. If I put a magnet to it and it sticks, it is not classified as stainless steel because all it is a little thin brush of nickel. So it's better just to put it into your steel bin. Next item I'm going to show you is aluminum. It also looks metallic, but if you compared it with stainless steel, it is very light. This is the first thing. It's called clean aluminum or sheet aluminum. It's this was actually just came off of a fan. I have a bowl here. This was from a slow cooker. Again, you can see that it's gray. A shovel. Okay, another nice piece of clean aluminum. Heat sink. Okay, these come from DVDs and electronics, but you can see that it's a nice silvery look, a lot lighter than stainless steel. Next thing I want to show you, this is probably the highest grade aluminum you can find. This is extrusion. Now, the difference between this and this is a clean piece of extrusion. It goes for about 56 cents a pound. Extrusion is made usually by putting something through a press. There's a lot of grooves in it. This is a mistake I commonly see amateurs come into the scrapyard with. They'll have plastic still in it and think they're going to get full price for it. But the scrapyard will only give you low grade because they still have to pull the plastic out. So before you do, make sure you clean your material. But again, this is also a piece of extrusion. Next piece of aluminum I'm going to show you is siding. Siding is about 40 cents a pound right now. Clean siding, a lot of construction, they'll throw out their waste, and if you ask permission, sometimes they just give it to you, or if you're doing renovations. Okay, so eavesdrops, same thing, but if you noticed on this eavesdrop, there is some caulking around this hole. I will have to cut that out in order to get top price for this, because if I don't, they're going to look at it as dirty, and they will give me probably a third of the price I was going to get. So that is siding. Next part of aluminum is extrusion. Extrusion is, not extrusion, cast aluminum. The cast aluminum comes from frying pans, barbecues. Very easy to do. As you can see, I've taken the handle off because the handle had some steel in it, so I wanted to maximize my price there, so I took the handle off. This is from a motor. Some motors have cast aluminum on them. Again, I checked to see if there is any magnetic parts. There is not, so it is clean. So extrusion right now is kind of down in price, but I'm waiting to bring that in. So it's about 25 to 30 cents a pound. Pop cans is its own category of aluminum. They're easy to collect. A lot of people throw them in the recycling, but if you throw them in a bucket, it doesn't take long to add those up. So they're about 40 cents a pound, and they use about 12 cans, I think, to make a pound. So that is that. Something I don't have here is actually aluminum radiators. You can find them in air conditioners. Copper, aluminum, they are their own price too. They're about 45 cents a pound. I don't have one here, but if I took that air purifier apart, there would be a aluminum grill in there. Next thing I want to talk about is copper. Copper is categorized into 3 different sections. This one is your money maker. This is called Bare Bright. It's very clean, it's very shiny, like one of those copper pennies. This is your highest paid copper. This is what you're looking for. So this is Bare Bright. Second would be this. You could look at it, I guess you could say that people would think it's Bare Bright, but it's not, because there is a little bit of tarnish to it. This would be considered number 1 copper. Okay, it's still a good price. You're still going to find it's about 10 cents or 20 cents a pound cheaper than Bare Bright, but this is your number 1 copper. Number 1 copper. This is your number 2. Now, if I brought this in as is, this would be paid at number 1 weight. But if I took the time, because there is soldering on there, if I took the time and cut there and just removed the soldering piece, this would be number 2. This whole piece would be categorized as a number 1, so I would get more money for this. Okay, so it takes a little bit of time, but it's worth separating. Okay, it's the same thing if I was to have a pipe like this. Some people bring this in and expect the same amount of money. If I was to cut off the piece of copper here, this would be number 1 at least, because there is a little bit of corrosion or a little bit of tarnish. But if I took this, that'd be a number 1. This could be a number 2, and this would obviously be just your brass, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Okay, this bag of copper that I have here is actually just from motors. And even though it looks very shiny and clean, because it is very thin, it would just be probably a number 2 copper. But it doesn't take a lot to add up, and it is in every motor that you find. Wiring, there's a bunch of different types of wiring. First type of wiring that I enjoy collecting is your household wiring, electrical wiring. It's very thick. If I was to bring it in like this, I'd get about $1.10 a pound. But if I was to open it up, use a wire stripper that I have, it comes out with really nice clean copper. And again, I can throw this into my number 1 bin. So that would be, actually, if I opened it up, these are the wires that come out of it. So I would strip those, and it gives me this wire. So that would be its own wire there. Another type of wire would actually just be insulated wire from any appliance. Any cord that comes off an appliance, computers, fridge. This would be about $1 a pound for insulated wire. And you can see there are brass heads on the top. Some people take them off. Some people say that it's worth more just for the brass on itself. I haven't seen really a difference, but this would be about $1 a pound. And there are differences in your wiring, so you have to make sure that you separate your wiring according to category. Okay, so appliance wire is its own category. If I was to take electronic wiring, so this is off of a microwave, there's small little thin pieces of insulated wire. This does not have a lot of copper, so this would be more of a lower grade wire. So I would not get the same price, and if I mixed all of them together, the scrapyard is going to give me a lower price for everything. Okay, so the thinner wires, your phone cables, they don't have a lot of copper in them, so you want to keep them separate. Okay, and lastly, an electrical cord, an extension cord. These I would hold separate as well, because they're, if I bend them, it's hard to bend because there is a lot more copper in them. These are worth more than your appliance cables, so all your extension cords and stuff, put them separately because they are your higher paid copper wiring. Next thing I want to go to is brass. There are two types of brass. There is the nice gold type. It comes from taps and pipes. So yellow brass. And you also have, as you saw on the tip of any extension cord or plug, there is brass here, but it has a silver coating on it. Okay, the brass that's gold is worth more just because it's clean, it doesn't have the coating. So keep those two separate. Okay, and again, you can find brass in anything. These are garden hoses. I have to cut the tips off. There's a brass pipe or a tap that I have to clean off still and get the brass. So there is your brass. That's about $1.35 right now a pound. Next is batteries. There are household batteries that you have in any appliance, larger batteries, and batteries from lawnmowers, cars, boats, anything that has a battery. These, because of the lead that are inside of them, these are something they accept at the scrapyard as well. However, I will not suggest hold on to these long because there is a high risk of them leaking, or you don't want any of that in your garage. So they will take these. And lastly, I want to talk about e-waste. A lot of electronics have circuit boards. There are different grades. They usually say green on. Green is a lower e-waste circuit board. Okay, there's not really much on that. As I get a little bit higher, there is mid-grade board that has a little bit of gold brush on it, and not much, but it has a little bit. There's a little bit, a couple of heat or synchronizers or aluminum. So this would be more of a mid-grade. And lastly, there is a high-grade board. So this is in a computer. If I actually took the heat sink off, there is a chip that has gold on it. Okay, and some people take those off and put them away. But you can sell as is. There's some heat sinks on here. There's some little solenoids and different doodads. But the gold increases the value of this, so this is a higher grade board. Okay, so again, this is all stuff that I have found on the side of the road. Hopefully that helps with identifying stuff or being able to sort stuff to maximize the value of your scrapping experience. Okay, hopefully see you, like, subscribe, and see you next video. Tim Man out.